Assalamu alaikum, it's me, Salam Sabi, and this video is actually for the Muslim brothers. This video is basically about please marry a Muslim sister. And I know people, I know the brothers are going to say, well, it's my right, I can marry any woman as long as she's Christian or Jewish, I can marry her. But I know that it's actually more detailed than that. She has to be, I think, a practicing Christian or Jew. That means she also has to have strong faith. Also, she just can't be the chick walking down the street in some skinny jeans and heels. No, she has to be practicing her faith. Um, it also talks about that she must be a virgin. I mean, it's real. It's way more complex than that. But of course, Muslim men are allowed to marry outside of their religion. Why? Because usually the woman follows the husband. That means that she will eventually herself become Muslim, which means that she will produce Muslim children. Um, Alhamdulillah, that's a beautiful idea. But I was reading an article, and you know what? I'm going to start cut and pasting and saving these articles. And it was saying that brothers who marry non Muslim women, and even if the female converts, usually, I think, what did they say after the divorce? I think they said like 60 to like 70% of the women that they surveyed were no longer Muslim. Now, if you think about that, what does that mean? That means if you had offspring with this sister, that means that there is a large percentage of children being raised in un-Islamic household, even though their father was once Muslim or even their mother was once Muslim. They are now out in the dunya, and that gives me chills, especially for foreign Muslims who marry a sister in the West and she refuses to allow you to take the child outside of the country. She's basically telling you blatantly that she does not want her child to practice Islam. Astaghfirullah. That gives me chills. And people are asking me, are you 100% against brothers marrying non-Muslims? I would say I'm maybe 60% against it, because I know what usually happens in the long run. Now, there are sisters who marry and who convert or revert and they stay Muslim the rest of their life, alhamdulillah. But it seems that the majority of the time they don't. And I just feel so sorry for the children, because it's the children who suffer. It's the children who lose not just their father, but they lose that inheritance of Islam. And to me, that is such a high price to pay. Or sometimes the child will remain Muslim, but he's not. It's like, okay, for example, I knew somebody, this is way before I even became Muslim. His father was Muslim, but his mother was, and then after the divorce, she left Islam. And he was Muslim, but he was like one of those confused Muslims. Like, he had La ilaha, tattooed on his chest. He smoked weed, but he sometimes offered prayer. Like, it was just, he was basically confused. And I know that we're all striving to do our best. And but you see a lot of confusion, and it's not right to your child, and it's also not right to you. I just feel like a lot of brothers don't want to marry sisters because they don't want to go down the proper route of finding a sister. And many brothers have said it's so difficult to get to a Muslim sister. I say it's not. I say it is 100% easy to find a wife. Okay? I can think of right now, if I wanted a husband, I know a Muslim sister, one or two Muslim sisters who know a lot of other Muslims and single men. I can put money on it that if I really wanted to find a husband, I could probably find one within a month. That's just how hard, maybe for a female, but I'm about to break it down to some of the brothers who think that it's almost impossible to find a wife. More women take their shahada than men do. There's actually a surplus of muslimas waiting to be your wife. But no, so many of you brothers turn around and you go and you marry a non-Muslim. Astaghfirullah. You know, it's just, it really, it kind of upsets me. Not really for myself, but seeing these single sisters, they're 30, 35, 40. I mean, they're getting up there in age and they're still single. Of course, they're partially to blame, but also brothers not wanting to man up and do it the right way is also problems. Now, if you want to find a sister, all you have to do, well, there's several routes, but if you're trying to do it the traditional way, you can go to the imam. You can tell him that you're trying to find a wife. You know, he'll probably go and tell some sisters or do whatever he needs to do. He'll probably find you a sister within a few weeks or even a few months, you know. Then, of course, she either has a wali or she has a wakil. And you go through the process of sitting down, meeting each other, talking about, you know, what you expect from marriage, asking personal questions, background checks, STD testing, which I highly recommend, especially if you're a revert, background checks, credit checks. Especially, it's important for a brother to be able to provide food, shelter, and clothing, and also for some expenses. If you're not financially ready, don't even bother. I'm not saying you have to be wealthy. I'm just saying that you have to be in a stable financial situation in order to marry. Now, you can find a sister who's willing to deal with you if you don't have a lot of money, but that can lead to a lot of problems. Nobody's asking you to have a lot of money. Well, depending on what culture you're from, some people demand thousands and thousands of dollars. It's like you're paying for your bachelor's or your master's degree again, but that's a whole different video. If you don't have a iman, go to one of your brothers within the Islamic community. Tell them, brother, you know, I'm looking for a wife. Most brothers know other sisters, or his wife will know other sisters who are looking for a husband. It is not that hard. And sometimes I just feel like most brothers just don't want to go through the effort. They don't want people in their business. They don't want to be interviewed. They don't want people to find out about their dark past. They don't want people to know that he's still fornicating and he has a baby mama on the side. He doesn't want people to know that he still sells drugs. He doesn't want people to know that he's not really on his deen, and that he's a fake Muslim, and that he's not really trying, and he's just trying to satisfy his sexual urges. That's why the wakil and the wali is there, to protect the sisters from brothers that are mentally, physically, and emotionally unstable. That's why they're here, to protect us. So to me, I'm seeing it as, wow, so the brothers with all the issues are turning around and marrying non-Muslim women. A Muslim woman who knows what her religion is no joke. A Muslim woman who is on her deen and is studying and understands Islam is no joke. And a lot of brothers cannot handle it when a sister knows her rights over her husband. It's constantly being drilled into a female, the rights that a man has over a woman, but sisters have rights over men also. So when a brother meets a sister who's on his deen, I just feel sometimes it's a threat, because they know that that sister is going to correct him. And some brothers can't handle having someone who has more Islamic knowledge than they do, or is better at practicing Islam than they do. That's how I see it. And then third, there's the internet. I think the internet is like the final straw. If you really cannot find anyone at all within your community, state, or whatever, then go on the internet. For sisters, the internet can be kind of dangerous because a lot of brothers go on the internet and they just play around. And for the brothers, if you're serious, you don't sit there and chit chat with the sister on the internet. You ask for her wali or for her wakil. If she does not give you a number or an email, leave her alone. You know, it's not hard to get to the sisters, but you have to be a good brother. You have to know that you're a good provider. You're on your deen. No, I would love to see every brother have a good wife, but he has to be good himself. And I just feel like maybe it is good that a lot of Muslim brothers are marrying non-Muslim women. Maybe it's telling us that a lot of the brothers are not where they need to be. They're not working on their deen. I mean, personally, I attend Islamic classes. I read Islamic books. I read the Quran. I try to pray 5 times a day. Sometimes I don't even make it. I just do my best, but my goal is to pray 5 times a day. You know, it's to be on it. And I just think sometimes a lot of brothers are slacking, you know. And as we all know, so it always ends up, it's the sister's responsibility to keep her husband walking down that righteous path. We understand that it's our duty. And I just feel that sometimes some brothers are just not strong enough to deal with a real Muslima, so they marry a non-Muslim, and it's kind of like you should try to marry someone who has just as much Islamic information as you do, or just a little bit below, or just a little bit above. It's kind of like you're not elevating yourself, you're not challenging yourself when you don't marry a Muslim sister. I'm sorry, brothers, there are plenty of women out there. Stop looking in the dunya and start looking in the ummah. Alright? Please. There's just too many beautiful and available sisters. You have to go through the effort and put down your pride and your ego and look for a good Muslim woman, because they're out there. And but believe me, they're looking for you too. You just have to man up and face the wali and the wakil. If you know you're not ready, then guess what? Don't even bother. And for the brothers who are looking for green cards and citizenship, sisters, be smart. Don't even bother, because once they get their papers, they're gone. Hasta mañana. Thank you. Bye-bye. You'll never see them again. Alright, guys. Time is up. Assalamu alaikum.